You know that sinking feeling, right? When you set a goal, you're all fired up, and then you don't follow through. We all do the same thing. We blame ourselves. We call it a lack of discipline, maybe even a character flaw. But what if that entire story we tell ourselves is just wrong? Today, we're going to look at a totally new way to think about discipline, not as some magical willpower, but as a game your brain was actually never designed to play. And the best part? We're going to learn how to win.
This quote from James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, is really the key to everything. It completely flips the script on how we think about getting things done. See, we're all taught to just push harder, right? To just grit our teeth and force our way through whatever's holding us back. But what this is saying is there's a much smarter path. It's not about having more raw strength. It's about being a better architect of your own life. It's a huge shift from a battle of brute force to a strategy of intelligent design. No, really, I want you to think about this for a second. What if all that procrastination, all those habits you tried to start and couldn't, what if it wasn't because you're lazy? What if you were just playing the game with the wrong instructions? Now, this isn't about making excuses, not at all. It's about finding the right tools for the job. You've basically been fighting a war against your own biology and trying to win with willpower alone. Well, it's just not enough. All right, so let's get right into it and start to dismantle this whole discipline delusion. We're going to expose the big mistakes most of us are making when it comes to self-control, and then we're going to build a new, way more effective framework from the ground up. Okay, look at this side by side. The old idea on the left, that's a trap. It tells us that discipline is just about having willpower, and if you fail, well, that's a deep personal flaw. So what do? We try to force ourselves, and guess what happens? We burn out. But the new reality on the right is so much more empowering. It says discipline is actually about design. A failure isn't some defect in your character, it's just a flaw in your system. And the solution isn't to push harder, it's to be a better engineer. This right here is the core mindset shift we need to make. So to really understand why design beats force every single time, we need to pop the hood and look at the machine we're all working with, our brain. And the truth is, we're basically running on ancient software that just was not built for the world we live in today. This metaphor just nails the problem perfectly. For literally millions of years, our brains evolved with one main goal: immediate survival. And that programmed a very specific, very short-term way of thinking. But the world we live in now, it demands long-term planning, consistency, delaying gratification, all things our brain isn't naturally good at. This mismatch between our ancient wiring and modern life is the source of almost all of our struggles. These three things right here, they're running your life on autopilot, whether you know it or not. First, conserving energy. That is exactly why staying on the couch feels so much better than going to the gym. It's not a moral failing, it's just biology. Second, seeking quick rewards. I mean, why study for an exam that's weeks away when you can get a little dopamine hit from your phone right now? Your brain is just being efficient by its old school standards. And finally, avoiding unnecessary effort. Your brain weighs every single action against this. So you're not fighting laziness, you're fighting millions of years of evolutionary programming. And there's a scientific name for this constant pull towards the easy option. It's called cognitive ease. Just think of it like your brain's default setting. It's not consciously weighing the long-term pros and cons of reading a book versus scrolling social media. Nope, it just asks one simple question. What's easier right this second? And this all happens unconsciously, in a split second. Understanding this is the absolute first step to outsmarting it. This quote connects the dots perfectly between understanding our brain and actually doing something about it. If our brain is hardwired to follow the path of least resistance, then the most powerful thing we can do is to change the path itself. And that path is our environment. You know, relying on motivation is like trying to paddle a canoe against a hurricane. Changing your environment is like turning the boat around and letting the wind push you exactly where you want to go. Okay, so this brings us to the most practical part. Let's move from theory to action. If our brain is always going to follow the easiest path, well, then our job is to make the right behaviors the easiest ones to do. It's time to stop just living in your environment and start engineering it. Let's just be real for a second. Willpower is a limited resource. It's like a muscle that gets tired during the day. If you spend all day long resisting temptations that you've just left lying around, the junk food in the cupboard, the phone buzzing on your desk, by the time evening rolls around, your self-control is completely shot. A poorly designed environment is literally setting you up to fail, no matter how motivated you feel when you wake up. This is a concept called choice architecture. It's really just a fancy way of saying you make your desired choices the most obvious and easy ones. Want to drink more water? Don't hide the bottle in the fridge. Put it right on your desk, right in your line of sight. Want to read more? Make a book the very first thing you see when you get into bed. Want to work out in the morning? Lay out your clothes the night before. All you're doing is removing the friction. You're making it so much easier to say yes. These aren't just clever life hacks. They're actually feats of brilliant behavioral engineering. So it's time to stop seeing yourself as a victim of your impulses and start seeing yourself as the architect of your world. Every object you place, every notification you silence, every little system you create is a choice. And it's either going to serve your goals or it's going to sabotage them. You have the power to design a life where doing the right thing is actually the easy thing. Okay, so once you've started to engineer your environment, you can take things to a whole new level. What if you could hijack the automatic routines your brain is already running and use them to build new habits almost effortlessly? Well, that is the genius behind something called the habit stacking hack. The logic here is so simple, it's brilliant. Your brain already has dozens of habits running on total autopilot. Making coffee, brushing your teeth, you name it. These are like well-worn paths in your brain. So instead of trying to carve out a brand new path from scratch, which takes a ton of energy, you just attach a new tiny habit to one that's already there. The formula is simple. After I do my current habit, I will do my new habit. It's crystal clear, it's direct, and it plugs right into your brain's existing software. And here's exactly why it works so well. You're leveraging a cue that already exists. The smell of coffee becomes the trigger for journaling. You're using the momentum from that automatic habit to carry you right into the new one. This reduces the resistance to almost zero. But the golden rule, the most important part, is that last point. You have to start small. The new habit has to take less than 2 minutes. Meditate for 60 seconds. Do one push-up. Read one single page. Why? Because it makes it almost impossible to say no. You're building the routine first. You can always add intensity later on. All right, we've covered our brain's weird old software and the systems we can build to work with it. But now we're going to the deepest level. Because real lasting change, it isn't just about what you do, it's about who you believe you are. Let's talk about identity. This is such a powerful idea. Your habits are not just these isolated things you do. Each time you finish a workout, you're casting a vote for I am a healthy person. Each time you write one single page, you cast a vote for I am a writer. These small wins, these tiny little votes, they add up over time until you actually start to believe it. You start to embody a new identity. You're not just trying to be disciplined, you're actively becoming a disciplined person. Now this next one. This can be a tough pill to swallow. We love our big, ambitious goals, don't we? We believe that if we just want something badly enough, we'll somehow find a way to get there. But the reality is, you fall to the level of your systems. That's the hard truth. On your worst days, when you're tired, you're stressed, you have zero motivation, you won't magically rise to meet your aspirations. You will fall back on whatever your automatic behaviors are. You'll fall to the level of your systems. And that's why having well-designed systems isn't just helpful, it is absolutely critical. Your future isn't determined by your best intentions. It's determined by the quality of your daily habits. So here's the truth we've had completely backward this entire time. We've been chasing discipline like it's the goal, but real discipline isn't something you get, it's something you become. It's the natural outcome, a side effect, of building an environment that makes good habits easy and then doing tiny actions that prove to yourself the identity you want to have. You don't force yourself to be disciplined. You just become the kind of person for whom those actions are normal. So we'll end with this. This is your call to action. You have the blueprint now. You know your brain isn't your enemy. It just needs better instructions. You know that willpower is fragile, but your systems can be strong. And you know that every tiny action is a vote for your future self. The power is completely in your hands. So the question is, what's one small thing, one 2-minute habit, one tiny environmental tweak you're going to design right now, today, to cast the first vote for the person you really want to become? Your future is waiting for you to design it.